Hey everybody, DeLongshot Signatures here. This is my recap of the 2025 Battle on the Bricks IMSA autographs and everything. Wanted to share the whole experience, so we're going to start off with the autographs that I got. We're going to split up between the 2 days. First day, pretty slow. Second day was really good. And then I'll kind of talk about why it could have been better. And a few other things, what I thought about the setup, how everything is, how different it is from the other racing series that I've gone to for autograph collecting, and then just kind of some stuff I noticed and stuff I'm going to try different next year. But we'll go ahead and get started with Friday's successes. We had 24 autographs, and again, I'll discuss why I didn't get as many as I probably could have. But we're going to start off with a couple trading cards for the 2025 Parkside IndyCar set. First one we have here is Hunter McElroy. Was waiting in Gasoline Alley, saw him walk by, and had to kind of chase him down. It was chaotic, but he was more than happy to sign. He said, I've been seeing these popping up around everywhere. So, I don't know how much of the series he's done for IMSA this year, but he seemed really surprised to see these. Same with this guy who signed two, Toby Sowery. You're going to notice there's a weird thing going on with the bottom of the autographs here. He signed on the tape as well, just this very small portion of it. So kind of stinks, but glad to add him to the set regardless. And then I do have two unknown autographs. I'm going to do my best to identify the customs. I should know some of these, and a couple of them I wrote down. So this first one here is Lauren Heinrich, who I think drove the Rexy car. This is probably Ryan Yardley, now that I look at it again. I'll have to double check and make sure that matches the signature that I have from him. I do not know who this is. He wrote number 14. Again, I will further discuss why I didn't get as many autographs as maybe I wanted to. This is Albert Costa. This is... that sucks. The last name smeared on the back. First name Klaus. This is David Rigon. Yeah, I've got more of these here. I just don't have everything in order. This is not going to be in any particular order in terms of like names or anything like that. Quite a few customs right here. Here's one that I know. Lindsay Brewer. Then we got Stephen Thomas, Sebastian Bourdais, Zach Veach, Brian Herta, something Westfall. I don't have it pulled up. What his first name would be. I believe this is Matthias Leist. And then Logan Sargent, former F1 driver. He was actually out signing quite a bit, which was cool. I'm glad I wrote it down because I would not have been able to recognize that signature when I saw it. Then I got some of the Porsche Carrera Cup cards, hero cards that I had picked up at the signing for the drivers who didn't show up. I got a few of these completed. We got Madeline Stewart, and she was like, oh, did I not get you? And I was like, I was one of the first ones there. I'm like, I think you arrived later. She's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm like, hey, I'm just glad you showed up, and, signed for, some of the other people. So I was able to get that done. Wesley Slimp, Patrick Mulcahy, Michael De Quesada. Some of these I don't even remember getting, but I guess I did. I will say, specifically with the Carrera Cup, something that's really interesting, I promise this won't take up too much time, is that they line up the cars behind the garages, at least the IMS. I don't know how it is at any of the other tracks. And there's like a 5 to 10 minute window before the race where a number of the drivers will kind of hang out. One sec. Sorry about that if you heard my cat. But there's about a 5 to 10 minute window where they have the cars set up and then the drivers start walking out. Once they start putting on their headgear, it's pretty much, time to leave them be and everything. But a lot of them are really cool about taking time to sign. So I was able to get 4 of those completed. Did get, also, Scott Blind. So I did get 5 of those signed. I think 2 of those were at the garages. Then we got a couple of hero cards signed. I got a Benjamin Peterson. He walked up to the garages at the same time as Logan Sargent, so I was able to get that signed. I saw Patrick Gallagher, pretty sure, walking around. He signed that. And then I got Dane Cameron at his garage on the Spike hero card. So again, I will discuss at the end of the video that things could have been a little bit better as far as who all I could have gotten, but Friday, really not that busy, which was kind of surprising, but open access and everything, really, really cool how they did it. And then today started off really slow. I think I had 2 or 3 autographed items in like the first 4 hours. And then it really picked up with 2 events. The Michelin Pilot Grid Walk, which was okay, not as bountiful as I thought it would be. And then the Full Field Autograph Session. So I'm going to share a couple things first, and then I will talk about the Full Field Autograph Session. So here's the customs that I got done. This is, I think, either David or Daniel Sarah. He was walking around. During the, I have it pulled up here. This is Suelio Almeida. I probably butchered his pronunciation. During the Michelin Pilot Grid Walk, it did start late, and they had it end at the same time that it was scheduled to, so it was 30 minutes instead of 40 minutes. Hectic. It's a nice experience. Not all the drivers are out there. Not every team offers stuff to be signed. And then they also do interviews at the same time, which I kind of get, but also people decide that they're also going to interview the drivers themselves. And so a lot of time is just kind of spent standing around talking, which is, interesting. I get that it's not necessarily for autographs, but they do offer, a number of drivers do offer the opportunity for you to come up and get stuff signed. So we got his teammate, Madison Ost. So now I've got 2 of her. I think this is the other Yardley that I got. I want to say it matches with this. Maybe not. I'll keep looking. But that one was definitely signed by Ryan Yardley of the Porsche. And then this, his name is Cranes. I'll have to look him up some more. Pretty sure I would have had that typed in. But I'm not going to take the time to do that now. Of course, I always meet some people. Saw a lot of familiar faces who also go and collect autographs and everything. And talked to a dude all 3 days. I've seen him before, but this was the first time we've ever really talked. And he has a buddy who takes photos in Europe for, European racing, including F1. And then this guy does a lot of American racing and takes photos, and they have a connection, so they, trade and swap stuff. I don't know if this is a photo that he got from his buddy, if his buddy took it or what, but I had mentioned that I didn't have any items specifically for Logan Sargent. He gave me an 8x10, and I was able to get that signed today. Came out great. really happy with how that turned out. Next, I'll talk about the full field autograph session. I really like it. I really, really like how it's set up. Most of the other racing, if you do have a bigger autograph session, it's usually like IndyCar splits it into 2 lines for the full field, but the full field is there. NASCAR doesn't do that, but they used to do the Xfinity series at IMS as many of the drivers. It was never the full set of drivers, but that would be 1 line. You would have to get a wristband, and you would get to meet everyone that showed up, but it would take a while. Legends Day, there's a whole bunch of different tables. You got to get in long lines for them. Those lines build up throughout the morning, and then you go through Legends Day. You got to have a wristband. This was different. This was each IMSA garage would set up tables and canopy, and at 1 o'clock it started. You could get in line beforehand, but then they would open it up at 1 o'clock, and it was convention style. You just walk up to the table, and if there's no people there, you're going to be the first one in line and get your stuff real quick. If there's a line of people, you get in that line. They keep it moving quick. The drivers are really good about pre-signing, or consistently signing as it's going on, so that way if they get stopped, it doesn't hold up the whole line of signed items, because most of these items are multi-signed. But I did get a couple of trading cards, 5 trading cards completed during this. But first we got 2 from Pietro Fittipaldi, who gave his basic signature. And then just to kind of give a scope of how things went, I went through every line at least once, other than the Ford Performance one, because they were doing big posters, and I already got one on Thursday, so I was like, I'm not going to bother with that. The other cards that I got signed, and you'll see this name again later, got 3 from Romain Grosjean, and he was the first line that I waited in because I wanted to get these cards done specifically, and it seemed like he was really cool about signing items that people brought, and I was like, hey Romain, I got 3, if you could sign whatever you have time for, I really appreciate it. And he just went ahead and signed all 3, which was awesome. And we got some of the Penske drivers here. We got Matthew Jaminet, Haminet, I don't know. Matt Campbell, already got those guys at the Fan Fest. We added Nick Tandy and Felipe Nasser, who was one of the main guys that I wanted to get. I was really surprised that I was able to go through, or had at least had the chance to go through every table, because that first line took a while. The line for these guys took a few minutes, and then the Wayne Taylor Racing took a little bit. But almost everything else was, like I said, like a convention. You just walk up, get your stuff, and then head out. And since most of the items were already signed, I could just go up, grab, and leave. We got hero card signed by Blomqvist and Brown. I think there's going to be 2 of these. I did go back to a couple of tables. Some of them I couldn't remember if I did get something, or if there was no one there and they had a bunch of extras. I was like, I'll take another. But Tom Dillman, Bijoy Garg, and Jeremy Clark. Not that Jeremy Clark. Nico Mueller, Timjen Vanderhelm. I am not going to remember this off the top of my head, but this was from the Michelin Pilot thing. Some of them did have hero cards on the cars, and then some of them were signed. This was one of them. We're going to take a short break from the full field autograph session to show the other Porsche Carrera Cup cards that I got finished. Michael Ariema. So like I was saying, they line it up kind of behind the garages, but they don't have enough space to put all of the cars there. So some of them are still within the fence of the regular garages. And so I was like, I should go back there and see if there are any drivers available. So Michael was the last one I got to meet for the Porsche Carrera. He had already put his earplugs in, But I looked at him, and he just kind of, shook his head, and he was cool enough to sign. So I was like, all right, that was nice of him. Alan Metney. We got Saber Cook and James Sofronis. Some of these people know how to sign autographs. Some of them don't. And you're going to notice that a lot with the upcoming signed items. This was one of the drivers who did an interview and then signed afterwards. And then as I was getting this signed, Cameron McLeod left, but Robert Noaker. Got another one of these. This one will probably be the one that I try to get complete if I'm able to get Alex Palou next year, just because the Oda signature on there is signed in black, and you can actually see it. So that's a cool one to get with 3 signatures. This one is signed by 2 of the drivers. This is one that I went back and grabbed another one of, and I think it was just Nicola sitting at the table at that point, but Lorenzo had already pre-signed. Then this is the hero card that Grosjean had with Mortara, Eduardo Mortara. Got a hero card signed by 3 of the drivers, Stephen Thomas, Mikael Jensen, and Hunter McElroy. I don't know if Charles Malesi was there or not. I didn't really pay too much attention. Andrea Caldarelli, Marco Mappelli. This one is signed by, I think that's Charlie Eastwood, and then Alec Udell. Here's one that's a repeat. And we got Juan Manuel Correa, who I was able to get at the Indy NXT signing earlier this year. Nick Buell and Ben Hanley. I'm not going to know the names for all of these. I apologize. These ones are signed at the bottom on the suit, so they're hard to see. But Paul DeResta, Daniel Goldberg, Rasmus Lind. Another Grosjean, because I did go to his line twice. The first time was to get my trading cards signed, and then I brought a couple hero cards, and I got those signed as well, so I grabbed one while I was there. Repeat of an earlier one, but this one, believe it or not, is signed technically right there. This was the only team that not the only team. The only team that I noticed that had big hero cards for individual drivers, but we got 2 of Misha Goikberg, which I'll show the other one later. I think I got 2 of Mario Farnbacher. Got 2 of Eric Figueres. Yeah, I did get 2 of Mario. That's cool. Then Grosjean put some great signatures on the IndyCar ones. I was a little worried if he would kind of scoff at the idea of signing those. I wasn't sure. Then we got another Misha, another Eric Figueres. They had something going on. I don't know if it was related to the Hyundai hands thing that was going on, the high fives. On here, this one says the Austin Hatcher Foundation for Pediatric Cancer. I don't know if that's related to the high five thing they had going on. But a number of these signings, there were some kids that also signed the hero cards. So if it was signed with like other drivers, I didn't count the kid signatures, but I think it's cool that they had them be part of the whole thing. But they gave, this team gave the kid that was with them her own hero card, and I ended up getting 2 of those. But Alyssa Rhodes. So talks about her story and everything. So that was really cool of them to do for those kids. Here's another one I got at the Michelin Gridwalk. Harrison Goodman. Would have loved to have had Zach Veach sign. Like I said, not every driver ended up showing up or was available, but still got some. This was one of the pre-signed ones, so Celso Neto and Ryan Eversley. This was the last one I got. They were starting to tell people to head out of the pit area, and I was like, I didn't go through all of the cars. And then I realized the side that I went down was the one that had most of the cars. So I went down the right side first. And then as I came back around, there was like another like 6 or 7 cars on the other side of where I had started. So I was like, okay, that's good. And then these two were very quickly signing. So I was able to get those. I believe I have 2 of these. Till Bechtelsheimer and then Joey Hand. I know I have 2 of these. Brendan Irabe, Ollie Milroy, and Frederick Schandorf. This is signed by all 3 drivers. It does not have their names on here, but I got all 3 drivers. Here's that one again. Then we got 3 drivers. There's Toby Sowery again, Malte Jacobson, and George Kurtz. We got this one with AJ Muss, Miller, and Shiro. I don't remember their first names. And then again, like I said, some of them had kids that were helping sign. So Matthew, I don't know if he's on this hero card. Doesn't look like it. Some of them included the kids on the hero card. Then this one, Trierossi, Cook, and Collado, as well as their kid who was with them, Noah. I got this one, which has Sebastian Bourdais, John Ferrano, and Sebastian Alvarez on it. I don't see a signature from Cameron S. You can tell because of the name being kind of simplified and all cap. Well, they're all caps, but kind of simplified that he was the kid that was with them, but it doesn't look like he signed. This says 80 out of 250. I don't know if they numbered these. So I don't know if they only had 250 of those or what that's supposed to represent, but it looks like it was written on there by hand. So that one might be kind of rare. We got Oliver Jarvis, who I'm pretty sure I already have his autograph because that looks really familiar. Tobias Lutke and David Heinemeier Hansen. We got the Vassar Sullivan team again, but this time Jack Hawksworth did not sign it, so I got Parker Thompson there in the top right. So at least I have the full team now. But I feel like all 5 drivers were there, so I don't know why Jack didn't sign. Then we got Manny Franco, Daniel Serra again, and Ben Tuck. This one is signed by 3 drivers, so it's Madison Snow, Neil Verhagen, and then Connor DeFilippe, I think. I got 2 of those. This one was just signed by Max Hess and Dan Harper. Adam Adelson, Elliott Skier, Tom Sargent, no relation to Logan Sargent. This one's signed by 4 of the Pratt Miller drivers. Milner, Garcia, and then 2 others that I can't remember, like Catsbury and then someone else. We got this one, Casper Stevenson, Tom Gamble, and then I think those 2 were at the Fan Fest, and then Zachary Robertson signed that one. So now I have all 3 of those drivers. This one I believe is signed by Ross Gunn and Roman DeAngelis. Not sure where the 3rd driver ended up or if he wasn't attending. I also did double dip in the Pratt Miller line, so I was able to get Pietro on a hero card with the team, 2 of his own hero cards, and then 2 of his trading cards. He was giving out the basic signature. And then here's the hero card that he had with the team. So Cumming, Rowe, and Fittipaldi. Could have brought my James Rowe rookie card, but I forgot to bring it. Got another one from this team with Gar Robinson, Felipe Fraga, and Josh Burden. And then their kid that was with them was named Milo. Some of the drivers left early at the end, so they didn't not all of these are fully signed by the team, but this is one that I kind of went back. I don't know how his first name's supposed to be pronounced, and I don't want to be rude about it. So Baricello. This team could learn to use better markers, but other than that, still happy to get it. I think I somehow ended up with 2 of these. Simon Man Lalo Widow. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. Alessandro Pierguidi. I did grab 2 of these. May have already shown it earlier. We got Logan Sargent, Benjamin Peterson, and Naveen Rao. We did get one of the Rexy hero cards. This was by far the longest line, mostly with kids. Makes sense. The cards are very, kid-friendly in their theme. They had people in dinosaur dragon suits running around dancing, music playing, little light-up palm trees and everything. So I get it. Plus, Dane Cameron's really good. So there was a really, really long line once it started. This was one of the last lines that I went into. And it kind of died down. It was nice just because, even though there was, pretty much everyone, all the fans pretty much were at the autograph session, there wasn't a ton of fans. There was a lot, but not as much as you would see at a NASCAR or an IndyCar event. So when a line was long, it didn't stay long the entire time. People would get their stuff signed and they would move on to the next table, and it made for a really good experience of being able to go around and get pretty much everyone. Here is another double. Another one with 3. Then we got the Wayne Taylor Racing Team. We got Trent Hinman, Danny Formile, Graham Doyle. I think I already got those guys. I think I already got all of these guys before, but I'll take others. Jordan Taylor, Louis Delatraz, Ricky Taylor, and Felipe Albuquerque. And then, even though I got these guys on Friday, I was glad that I was able to add them on a hero card. Albert Costa and David Rigon, because those 2 were one of the few drivers that I actually saw at their garages, and they signed for a few people, so that was cool. Got a Philip Ang and Dries Van Tor, who I think were also at the Fan Fest. We got an Earl Bamber, Jack Aitken, and then Frederick Vesti, who I got through the mail sending to his Formula 2 team. I apologize if not all of these are getting on camera. I'm trying to go through this as fast as possible. Got 2 of these drivers, Brock Feeney, Mick Grenier. Another one with Sargent, Peterson, and Naveen. I did get a full team one of this where they need to switch markers, but they came out okay enough. We got Scott Andrews, Wyatt Bricacek, which something tells me that he was in IndyCar. Maybe not IndyCar, maybe Indy Next, but I'm pretty sure I've met him before. Almost done here. Luis Perez Componk, Matthias Perez Componk, and Nicholas Nielsen. Another one of these, and another one of these. So overall, a total of 179 autographs on Sunday to pair with the 24 from Friday to pair with, I think, 74 from Thursday. So overall, I did really well. Over 200 autographs. It put me at 941 total in-person autographs, which by far shatters whatever record I may have had before. I don't plan on doing any more in-person autographs this year. Maybe if I go to like an Indy Fuel game or something and they have autographs afterwards, I'll do that. But right now, my plan is to just kind of chill out the rest of the year, not go to too many events, and try to save some money for next year. Let all that build up. But really happy with how it went. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences and what I thought and everything. So if you're just here for the autographs, you're good to go now. But if you want to hear me ramble, feel free to stick around for a few minutes. I really liked it. I'm really glad that I went this year. Of course, I missed out on like Keanu Reeves and some other prominent drivers in years past. But I'm glad I went through with this, and I will say it was a lot more organized than I could have hoped for, which was really nice to see. The Fan Fest was great. They made parking available for free. It was right in downtown. It felt good. It was a good setup. And as busy as it was, there wasn't a lot of people there for the autographs, which was kind of crazy. So overall, like, I will definitely be doing that again. The only thing that sucked about going to the track this year was the construction, which absolutely has nothing to do with the race. But the road that I take from where I live to where the track is being completely redone, which is nice. Just wish it was at a different time. It's also been affecting how I get to work. Right now, they're not working on that section anymore, which is great. But it can still be a nightmare trying to get anywhere in or out of town. But regardless, that's not IMS's fault. I got to the Fan Fest right at the right time because they do shut down the little circle, the roundabout there, to bring the cars out. But overall, very happy that I went to the Fan Fest. Friday, it reminded me a lot of going to the Indy 500 with a bronze badge, but you don't need a bronze badge. But the biggest difference that I noticed is it's a different culture of how the garages are done. Again, it's full access, completely free. You can just walk in. There is no one stopping you unless a car or a cart is coming in and out. But at so many times there were more drivers walking around than there was fans, and you would think that would make for a great autographing experience to be able to just, oh my god, there's all these drivers available. Well, these drivers are from all different countries and this and that and different styles, and they're all racing different styles and everything that they kind of they're kind of their own person. They aren't really they don't hang out with the team very much. So you don't see them in the garages too much unless there's someone that works on the car or they just drove it back. But it's not like IndyCar where you can stand there for a few minutes and hope that they'll come out and sign for everyone. It doesn't really work that way too much. It did happen a couple times, just not very often. Mostly what you have to do is just kind of recognize the drivers, go up and ask, and most of them are more than happy to sign. The biggest problem is that I kind of feel bad going up to ask because a lot of them, I don't know their name. They usually wear their fire suits with the pants on, and then it's unzipped, and so they have like the top of it not on them, but it's still attached and everything. It's kind of like tying your coat around your waist because you're getting hot. But a lot of them don't have anything that displays their name, so you don't always know who they are, especially if they're not an IMSA driver. And twice I asked someone for an autograph and they were an engineer, which they were super cool about it. It sounds like it happens a lot, but just because they have a fire suit on does not mean that they race. And one of them was even wearing an old shirt of one of their former drivers, so it had the name across the chest, and so that's who I thought it was. And he was like, sorry, this is an old shirt. I just threw it on. He's like, I used to work for the guy, but he's like, I'm not him. And I was like, good to know. So it does make it kind of difficult. You don't want to do that too often and accidentally do that to the same person. That would be really, really awkward. But the other thing too is a lot of the drivers, again, are very self-reliant and just kind of focused on themselves and like what they're doing. So they don't spend too much time out in the garages, but they walk from the garages to their RVs, and you can get them, but most of the time they're carrying their phone, a drink, their helmets almost every single time. And so you kind of feel bad asking for an autograph because then they got to fumble around with stuff in their hands. You know, with IndyCar, you don't really see that too much. They might be carrying their helmet, but they usually have someone do that for them. The main thing with IndyCar that they do to avoid is get on their scooter, but even they'll stop with that. All these drivers, you can stop them. They will take a picture. They will sign. But I don't want to be the jerk who's going around asking every single person who has a fire suit, who's carrying a helmet, you know, can I have your autograph? Can I have your autograph? Without even knowing who they are. Because the other thing for me is I don't want to have a bunch of autographs of people who I don't know who it is. So I already put 2 off to the side that I told you about that I'm going to try and figure out. If you guys have any hints, I would greatly appreciate it. But you know, I'm hoping next year, now that I know kind of how to read the schedule and now that I know how many drivers there are actually going to be, I can be a little bit more prepared and bring more specific items to kind of give me like, you know, oh, I need Felipe Nasser, or how do you pronounce his name? And I'll know to look for him, and I'll start getting familiar with his face. Dane Cameron, I already have his autograph, but I didn't know what he looked like. But again, it's such a different culture and setup compared to any of the other races that I've done. So I would definitely like to go back again. I feel like I can do better in the garages and not have a day like today where I go 4 hours and I got like 3 things signed. But they also, like I said, they line up a bunch of the cars before they take them out on track. Now, for like the Michelin Pilot in the IMSA series, it's usually not the drivers taking the cars out. So you might see them as they're walking around Gasoline Alley and then through the pits and whatnot. But, you know, they're probably not going to be signing at that time. But like the Porsche Carrera Cup, they were signing. I got a couple of the Lamborghini guys, I think, maybe 1 or 2 of them. And then there was another series, I think, too. Maybe the Mission Pilot, a couple of those drivers signed. So it's really, really interesting how they have it set up. How many drivers there are is just insane. Bunch of, 2 to 3 driver racing teams, multiple teams having multiple cars. So, you could have 6 to 12 drivers driving for the same team. Again, it's absolutely madness. But because there's not that many fans, it's mostly the crews and the drivers. So that's another thing that kind of makes it a little awkward, is there's not that autograph culture that I'm used to at, the drag races and at the, at like the Indy 500 and stuff, because you have a whole bunch of people, even, casual fans that are going up and getting autographs. So you feel like you're part of that, and there's no problem with you going up to a driver and saying, hey, can you sign this for me and everything. That just doesn't really happen too much at IMSA unless it's one of the bigger names like Logan Sargent or Dane Cameron or, one of those guys. But it was just very weird, and I learned a lot this year. Very happy that I went again. This is going to be really interesting to figure out how I'm going to get all this sorted away. How I'm even going to post this on Instagram, who knows. But let me know what you guys think. I really liked it. I'm really happy with how it went down. I learned a lot. It's different. It's weird. But considering how many drivers there are, I'm excited for next year. Just to see all the new names that I could potentially add. Because Lord knows I added so many new names to the collection. I don't know how I'm going to get caught up. But, potentially last in-person autographs I get this year. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for taking up 40 minutes of your time. But I really, really appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. Best of luck with your guys' collecting. Take care.